We've talked a lot about Israel versus Iran, but I do want to talk about the U.S. versus Iran. An FBI document that was posted online by Senator Chuck Grassley, who is a Republican from Iowa, revealed that Iran attempted to hire assassins to kill several U.S. politicians. That includes President Biden, former President Trump, and former presidential candidate Nikki Haley. What do you make of that information? Again, that did come in from a document that was released by Senator Grassley, who, it's also important to note, released that body cam video of the Trump assassination after that happened, or assassination attempt, I should say.
Well, first off, Grassley's motivations, I can't speak to those, but speaking to the direct threat, and looking at what he did release and the facts of the information, I can tell you I find that not surprising at all. It is something that I followed in my last two assignments in DoD intelligence. It's something that we appreciate that Iran wants to do. This stems back to the 2020 assassination when President Trump ordered the killing of Qasem Soleimani, the head of the IRGC Quds Force, the most powerful arm of the Iranian military. We assassinated him in 2020 outside Baghdad. And while we did that, he was literally planning an operation against U.S. forces. So we knew that we had to take the action. And Iran responded at that time with a ballistic missile barrage against al-Assad. Everybody thought that's it. Well, that wasn't it. That wasn't a complete Iranian response. They did promise to attack back in kind. And what that means to them is, I'm going to go after your leaders. And so they pick those leaders. They do have this threat. And Josh, I'm sorry to say, they do have the ability to infiltrate our nation, come across through sympathizers through the southern border. We just had someone arrested trying to come in from Canada who's going to attack some Jewish locations on the anniversary of October 7th. So you look at this, they do have the ability to get into the country. They are not going to stop this. And so one thing that you're getting at with this question about the U.S. versus Iran kind of plays to one of the horses I like to beat to death in class, and that is, strategic focus. We have to look at the long game because that's the game Iran is playing. The chants, death to America, are not just a slogan or a bumper sticker in Iran. They are an objective. So that's what they want to focus on. And we just have to look at how they have methodically done things since the overthrow of the Shah in 1979. They want nuclear weapons, and they are going to continue to build toward that. They attack us with cyber campaigns. One just recently came out. So if we look at this methodical approach, while they may, for a short term, answer to some diplomatic détente, not in the long term. Iran will continue these efforts, and they will continue something to either take on the United States directly, wipe Israel off the face of the earth. But they are not our friends and never will be.
And I do have to ask here before I let you go, does Iran fear the U.S. and does the U.S. fear Iran? I know that's a tough question, but I definitely want to get your take on it.
Well, that fear question, I'll go back and I'll talk about deterrence, which we've talked about several times. And when I look at deterrence, those capabilities you have to have, and we have that in the United States to deter any nation on earth, but you have to have the willingness to use it. And your adversary has to believe that you're going to use it. Right now, the only thing we're doing with Iran across our entire national security apparatus is appeasing them. We're continuing to not put sanctions on them. We're continuing to give them billions of dollars, whether it's overtly or covertly. So we're doing that. And we are not making Iran feel any pain for this assassination plot, for pursuing nuclear weapons. We're not doing anything that's going to deter Iran. They don't fear us, and they don't fear action from the United States. As to how the United States feels, perhaps, and it boggles my mind how this administration can't be more forceful in the face of a strategic enemy. I don't know what this administration is thinking to not confront Iran and be more forceful in our deterrence. Militarily, I don't fear them. I respect them as an enemy, and I will face them, but I don't fear them militarily. We can handle the threat, any threat Iran poses to us.
All right. Mark Chandler, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and break it all down. So many developments there out of the Middle East. Anything else that you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
Josh, you're right. There's a lot of developments. I just want to bring up real quick the northern aspect in Israel and Hezbollah. So when we look at that, after the 25th and that large attack that Israel had, the preemptive attack on Lebanese Hezbollah, and then the 300 plus missiles and UAVs that Hezbollah launched, everybody said, here we go. We're going to ramp up into open warfare. We actually saw a downward trend in Hezbollah attacks for several days. This week, they started ramping that back up. So we're starting to see getting back up to some sort of what I would call the new normal in the north. And that's where Hezbollah is going to launch 10 to 30 rockets or UAVs a day against northern Israel. Remember, you have almost 100,000 Israelis displaced, unable to live their life in the north. This is going to have to break somewhere. Those Israeli citizens are going to have to be allowed to go back in. Hezbollah is going to have to stop its attacks. The other day, the Israeli chief of staff said, we are prepared to go into Lebanon. I think that's messaging that it's about time to where we need to settle this northern dispute once and for all.
All right. Mark Chandler, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, Josh. I'm glad to be here and hopefully shed a little light on this confusing, complex situation.
You always do. Thanks again.
Thank you.
11:21 on the East Coast, 8:21 on the West Coast. My name is Josh Breslow, and I'm here for the next couple hours to bring you all of your top stories, live events, and breaking news.